Joe, let's start with you here. Carlos Sainz once again ends the Max Verstappen streak and only 2 weeks removed from his appendix surgery as well. Very impressive job, well done. But was this his most impressive win in his career so far?
I would say yes. Now, Silverstone, when he won there, that was very impressive. He really demonstrated how smart of a driver he is, knowing what to do when Ferrari wanted him to help Charles Leclerc. He knew that would endanger his lead. Then we had Singapore. A lot of folks were just thinking, well, okay, he did great. Singapore is very hard to pass. But this racetrack, considering the circumstances of what he just went through with the surgery, come back, and now be in victory lane, and considering we all know what happened in the off season, he's going to be out of a ride. He just showed pure speed out there. I was just so impressed with him qualifying. I know Isha talked about she really thought maybe Carlos Sainz could get the pole. She was considering Carlos Sainz for pick winner, but of course Verstappen got the win. I mean the pole. As soon as he led the first corner, I was thinking, okay, it might be over. But Carlos Sainz was just right there, made that pass, controlled this race. Absolutely. And Ferrari did a great job with strategy, no mistakes. Great job by that entire team. Yes, in my opinion, this was his most impressive victory.
Yeah, Joe, I don't really have too much more to add, but I thought Carlos Sainz did a fantastic job. Once Max Verstappen retired from the race, he took full advantage of it and went out there and completely dominated. Quite a drive by the Ferrari driver. I know we'll talk a little bit more about this in the next question, but I think Carlos has a chip on his shoulder. He wants to show Ferrari something. You know that yeah, Lewis Hamilton adding him to a team is great and all, but look what you're losing here. That I'm capable of going out there and getting the job done week after when the opportunity arises. I think Carlos Sainz did a really good job of maximizing the moment and what happened, the unexpected moment. Who would have thought Max Verstappen would have gone out of the Australian Grand Prix? I'll say 9 out of 10 of people who watch this Formula One race expected to see Max Verstappen take the lead in the turn one, and that was it. You know, congratulations to Max on another win. But to our surprise, it wasn't the case. Instead, it was the smooth operator putting together a smooth performance and who ended up winning the Australian Grand Prix. I thought this was a super impressive drive by Carlos Sainz.
Do you think Ferrari might be thinking to themselves, maybe we can make this a real challenge now?
I gotta say, yes, I think they're really showing they can make this a real challenge. Carlos Sainz, podium in Bahrain, ran a great race. Unfortunately, what happened in Saudi Arabia, having to go under surgery. But then look what the Ferrari responded with. Charles Leclerc, podium. Oliver Berman, debut, top 10 finish. That's super impressive from a team that for so long, it just seems like they crack under pressure. They just make questionable calls. And then this weekend, Charles Leclerc, he needed a strategy to get around the two McLarens. Once that occurred, he got that podium as well too. So overall, I think this is a new Ferrari. Fred Vasseur, team principal. Now that he's been there, I believe his third season, I think he's really demonstrating that he is putting together something special that could really bring the fight to Red Bull. I think Red Bull still has the favorite, but Ferrari's there.
Yeah, Joe. I think Ferraris, just maybe a couple of steps away from Red Bull on a regular day. But I'm looking at 2025, 2026 as the year that Ferrari can truly potentially take the fight Red Bull with Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton in the driver lineup. And answer the question has been my attitude hasn't changed at all about Red Bull. I truly believe that they're still gonna go away, take the drivers' championship with Max and the constructors as well. But as we saw in Australia, if Red Bull has an off day, Ferrari is gonna be there to pounce. Whether it's Charles Leclerc or Carlos Sainz, I still think Red Bull is definitely gonna be the top dog in Formula One throughout the rest of the year. But I think Ferrari's gotten a lot closer to them.
A couple points to follow up on, Joe, just on Mattia Binotto and Frederick Vasseur. It was at the end of 22 that he was let go, so it's his second season. But I guess in some ways it feels like the third because of how long these seasons have been, both in terms of a number of races and how long they felt with just the nonstop Red Bull dominance. But if I had to answer this question here, I've got to side with Kobe in this one. I think that, it might be flashbacks to 2015 when Sebastian Vettel went out and won in Malaysia, the second race of the year. And everybody thought maybe this is Ferrari showing that they might be able to take a challenge, take the fight to Mercedes. Ultimately, however, Mercedes still pulled away pretty comfortably, even though Vettel did win 3 races that year. So maybe that's a number that Ferrari can shoot for, maybe even surpass. But I think that in terms of a championship, what do I always say about Ferrari, right? Just be patient. With Dallas Cowboys of Formula One, I think that ultimately they're not going to be able to take the fight to Red Bull for the entire year, and they're still probably going to walk away with the constructors as Verstappen will with drivers. But as they say, this is why races aren't run on paper, and we saw proof of that with Ferrari and Carlos Sainz this weekend.
Ben, I actually wanted to ask you a quick question. What's going to happen first? Will the Dallas Cowboys win the Super Bowl, or will Ferrari win a Formula One World Championship again? What happens first?
I think we're going to have humans on Mars before either one of those happens, but that's just my personal opinion there. We'll have an open segment on the Encore show tomorrow. I know we're in a little bit of a time crunch tonight, but I certainly have some thoughts on Formula One. I have some thoughts on Alex Albon failing to score points in the whole Williams deal. Everybody knows that for sure. So more on my opinions of the race on tomorrow's Encore show with Brandon Crossland. But in the meantime, Kobe, I'll hand it back to you here.
All right. Thank you. Based on Joe's just cracking up over here.